Beekeepers, make dead outs a thing of the past and make more money. It's currently towards the end of February. I think it's the 18th of February 2024. This is my dark room. I have a red light and I'm heating it because I want my colonies to do brood. It was 12 degrees overnight, and I have trouble with the toxic chemicals the crop farmers put in the environment. It gives my colonies a difficult time to get through winter. Instead of living 5 to 6 months through winter, I can only get 3 to 4 months out of them. And this blue flame heater here, it doesn't seem to harm my honeybees. I've been doing this for several years, and I've had no bad effects from having this heater in here. And I'm going to show you another place that I have colonies, but this right here, these two rooms here, I don't have any hives stacked on top of each other. This way I have access to every single colony. I can check them every morning. Like if they were to run out of honey, I didn't feed syrup last fall, too expensive. I didn't want to spend money on it and have losses during the winter. See this colony here? This is a chick drinker that I use when I'm feeding during warm weather. I put a mason jar on it and I'll put syrup in it. But right now it fits underneath my screen, and I've been squirting syrup in here because this colony here doesn't have any honey. If they do, they have very little. But anyway, they were taking syrup. I'd fill this up every day. And they had a cleansing flight almost 2 weeks ago. That's why I was able to start feeding them syrup. I made this syrup thick, and it's like 2 to 1, 2 parts sugar, 1 part water. So I saved this colony by doing this. And this AP23 that I bought, none of my colonies are taking this. That doesn't mean the queen's not laying. It just means that they prefer natural pollen over substitute. So I can go through it. I can check every colony, and I make sure they're alive. And if I find one where I don't see moving bees, I'll take it into another room and I'll open it up and see what's going on. If I find out that they've gotten chilled because they didn't have any honey or they didn't go to the honey, I can save them because I caught it the same day. So let me pause this. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the 19th of February. Time flies when you're having fun. Okay, this is the other room that I have. This is my inspecting room. And I'm working on doing a room that I can keep dark that has a smaller room in it where I can take my hives when I want to check them, and I can open them up and gather the bees up when I'm done. Because when it warms up outside in the sunshine, but it's not quite warm enough for them to do cleansing flights outside, because I will take these out if it's warm enough. But anyway, the bees, they want to get out of hive and they get really active, and I don't really want them to do that. But I currently don't have enough room in the other room, which is actually over there in my garage. I don't have enough room there to, if I were to bring in more hives in that room, I wouldn't be able to open them up. So anyway, I don't have very many dead outs. The only reason I've had a dead out, 5 colonies ran out of honey, and I've had a few that had honey that the cluster got too small to move to the honey. The workers didn't go to the honey to get the honey and bring it back to the brood because the queen was still doing brood. So I currently have 107, and I've spent less than $1,000 last fall and winter, during winter, on these colonies. This is where I've spent money. $335 for this, which the money is not lost. I'm going to have this probably for the rest of my life. $125 on acylic acid, and this is how I got rid of the varroa mites. I got the varroa mites under control last fall. And then the wife and I spend money equally on this stuff. It's both of our businesses. Last fall, we loaded up the hives with domino cane sugar. I make these sticks of sugar. So we spent about $200 on that. And then as colonies dwindle down and they lose queens and I combine colonies, I save the sugar, and next fall I'm going to mix this 50-50 with new. I will not take this to make syrup out of it because the bees poop on it. but it has not seemed to ever kill any of my bees when I mix it with brand new. So I'm not losing any money with this. It's good for next fall. Okay, so that's the money we spent last fall. And what did I spend money on so far this winter? Just a couple weeks ago, I bought this Dodont AP23, and none of the bees, none of the colonies that I have seen are actually taking it. So that was $95, and it's a good backup. Say if we have a bad spring and the bees can't fly. And right now, currently, you see this you see this frame here? This is an example. I've gone through my hives this winter several times. I've done almost 200 inspections, and I wasn't concerned about them having pollen. And if I put in a couple frames of honey, and I would move the pollen to the outside towards the edge. This is a frame with pollen and honey. This will make your queen lay if she wants to lay. This will not make your queen lay. The bee industry thinks that if you put this in too early, your colony is going to start growing too fast before the weather warms up. That's all bullshit. All right. If you have this in the hive, I've had a lot of queens that continued to lay. I couldn't get them to stop laying. It's not because they were inside. The ones that are inside were cold enough they should have stopped. We had a warm December. Queens didn't stop laying, and they've eaten up all the honey and the pollen in the hive. Okay, and so I would have to give them, when I make this syrup up, this Damo cane sugar, and I put this honey be healthy in it, and I follow the directions. Okay, and that was 135. It's supposed to be better than just plain syrup. It's supposed to make the bees want to accept it easier. I had that one colony I just showed you. They are taking syrup. So I saved the colony by doing that because I've run out of, this is basically my last frame. It has any honey on it. This is the last one. I have used up all the extra frames I had. If I have a colony that loses the queen and I combine that colony with another, then I will have some extra frames of honey if they had honey in there. But what I'm going to tell you, when you stack your hives like this, it's not as good as if you had your hives all out on shelves. My goal is to have a big room with shelves where I could put every single hive, every colony on a shelf, and I could just go through every morning and lift it and shine a flashlight in there, see if you have moving bees. These here, I have to pick them up, set it on this hive stand here, open it up, take the cover off, check, see if there's bees moving, determine if they have enough honey or not, and then do the next one, and I set the first one down on the floor. It's a workout. I'd be checking every single hive through every stack until I get them all done. Sometimes I don't have time to do all of them in one day. Sometimes I don't do them every day, and I do them every other day. But I'm also inspecting for queens when I do this, and I'm combining small colonies that don't have queens with other small colonies that have queens, and I'm able to prevent the losses that you guys have. Okay, the reason I don't have any large colonies right now, last fall I knew I wasn't going to have enough honey. All my old queens I went through with. And I have a list of numbers that are old, and if the queen looked old, I knew she wasn't going to be much good the following year. I killed her, and I split that colony up, and I divided amongst my new colonies. I created 150 new colonies last summer, and I probably have 100 of those left, somewhere around there. I'm not sure exactly, but it's pretty close to 100 new colonies left, and these are really going to take off this spring when it warms up. So my goal is to keep them alive, find small colonies that have a nice-looking queen, and I don't have another colony to combine it with, I will do hive inspections, let all my bees get on the floor from those hives that had large numbers of bees, and I will gather them up and put in a cup in each one that needs extra bees to keep them going. And then when it does warm up, and I can put hives outside, and I have colonies that actually have a lot of brood that I can split in half, then I'll take my smallest colonies and do a normal split that you would do during warm weather and put in that new queen in the other half of that colony that you took away from the other queen, okay? I've done quite a few of those during March. It depends on the weather, okay? Thank you.